Good morning, Judge.
Morning, Judge.
Morning, Judge.
Okay, so those that are going to testify, I need you to raise your right hand so we can swear you in.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. All right, cause number 47, the state of Dontrell, Jovan Coates. Mr. Orth.
Yes, Your
Morning.
Honor. Good morning, Your Honor. Would you want me to continue with the testimony of the witnesses and the applicant, Your Honor?
You may proceed, Counselor.
Thank you. At this time, I'd call Cherry Coates. Ms. Coates, please state your name for the record.
I don't see Sherry on here.
I don't know where.
Ms. Coates, are you on here? All right, let's set it aside for the moment.
I can go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Dawson, you said something?
Good
Go
morning.
ahead, Dick. Good
Yeah,
morning.
Dick Dawson, attorney ad litem. For whatever it's worth, I called Ms. Coates about 10 minutes ago and didn't get an answer, for whatever that's worth.
She was supposed to be on the meeting, Your Honor. Last time I talked to her.
Okay, if you want to try to get a hold of her.
I can go ahead and go with the witness, two disinterested witnesses, Your Honor, and hopefully she'll come on.
Okay, so then call your next witness.
I'd call Danita Lewis. Miss Lewis, will you please state your full name for the record?
I don't see her on here either.
This is Dick Dawson. To my knowledge, the two disinterested witnesses were going to be, let's see here,
Miss Lewis and Miss Singleton.
Lewis and Carolyn Singleton. Yes, that's correct.
And I don't know why they're not there. They were in with my paralegal in his office, which is outside of where I am, Your Honor.
Yeah, I don't see them on the screen at all.
No, I don't either. Let me, can we take a brief moment, Your Honor, where I can contact him and make sure that he gets on?
You can see if you can round up your witnesses and we'll move on.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Clapper,
Sir, good morning.
your client can put her hand down now. I know her arms getting tired.
I didn't notice. I apologize.
It's okay. All right, let's move on to cause number 101, the state of Thomas Everett Faraday.
Good morning, Judge. Jason Hanna here on behalf of the applicant. I am here in the office with one of our witnesses and our applicant. We just have the camera turned around. I'm on the other side of it.
Oh, there you are. I see you now.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, were y'all on? We swore everybody in a while ago.
Unfortunately, my computer dropped the connection, so we didn't.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand so we can swear you in, please. Melinda, you're muted.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down and Counselor, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to call Linda as our first witness. Linda, can you please state your full name with Thomas Everett Faraday?
Yes,
How long did you know each other?
50 months.
And are you familiar with the facts of his life, such as the identity of his children and spouses?
Yes,
And decedent was not married when he died, correct?
correct.
And he was previously married to Linda Fresnel on September 3rd of 1996 and divorced from her on September 15th of 1977, correct?
Yes,
And then he had been married to Eugenia Shaw on January 30th, 1982, and divorced from her on October 15th, 2003, correct?
yes,
Then he was married to Joyce Davis Faraday on November 8th, 2003, and she died on December 10th, 2011 in Chambers County, Texas, correct?
yes,
Then he had been married to Marie, I messed up the last name.
Plaisance.
Plaisant Pleasance Faraday on May 5th, 2012, and they divorced on July 21st of 2020, correct?
Yes,
And to the best of your knowledge, the decedent's only children include Todd Faraday, Travis Faraday, and Trent Faraday, correct?
yes,
And to the best of your knowledge, no other child has ever claimed to be a child of the decedent, correct?
correct.
And to the best of your knowledge, decedent never adopted any child aside from Todd Faraday, correct?
Correct.
And he never brought anyone into his home who may have thought or had reason to believe that they were going to be adopted, correct?
Correct.
And is it true that you have been offered nothing of value for your testimony today?
That's correct.
And you stand to gain nothing from the probate of the decedent's estate, correct?
Yes,
And do you know whether the decedent's children conducted a thorough search of the decedent's effects and whether they discovered a will?
yes,
And no will was ever discovered, correct?
correct.
Did the decedent ever talk to you about having created a will?
No,
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Clapper.
Ms. McClatt, we are English. How are you today?
You
You are,
can ask your.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
okay. We have spoken before and gone over each of the facts that you were just asked by Mr. Hannah on the record today. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you find that there is no other child, no other person, no other heir after, now let's see, am I talking to Ava English or am I talking to Miss McClett?
Linda McClellan. You're talking
And Miss
Linda.
Mc- Okay, then Miss McClett, you have known him for a much longer time, have you not? A year and a half prior to his death on November of 2020.
Yes, yes,
All right. And you were around him quite a bit.
weekly.
Well, that's quite a bit. And we, you also said that you didn't gain anything, but you wanted to make sure that the three boys, the sons of Mr. Faraday, were determined by the court to be the only heirs of Mr. Thomas Faraday, correct?
Yes,
I pass the witness, Your Honor, with what her
All
testimony.
right, Counselor, call your next witness.
I'd like to call Miss English, please.
Good
Miss
morning, Ava.
English,
Good morning.
please state your full name for the court.
Ava Lee English,
And how long did you know that the decedent Thomas Everett Faraday?
since 1976.
And you're familiar with the facts of his life, such as the identity of his children and spouses, correct?
Yes, I am.
Now, you heard me, did you hear me list off all of the previous marriages of the decedent in speaking with Linda?
Yes, sir.
Did Linda state each one of those marriages, divorces, and deaths correctly to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that you would change from her testimony?
No, sir.
And to the best of your knowledge, the decedent's children include only Todd Faraday, Travis Faraday, and Trent Faraday, correct?
Correct.
And you've been offered nothing of value for your testimony today either, correct?
Correct.
And you stand to gain nothing from the probate of this estate, correct?
Correct.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Clapper.
Miss English, we've spoken before this hearing, correct?
Correct.
You and I went through each one of the things that you've been asked about, and there is no other marriage known to not only you, but I have personally searched through Ancestry.com, Family Search, the District Clerk Records of Chambers County, Montgomery County, Oklahoma County, Dewey County, Muskogee, Oklahoma, for a marriage license of any other, plus the birth certificates, divorce certificates, and I can't find anything other than what we have spoken about. Would you be of the opinion that we have done an adequate search to determine any other heir of Mr. Faraday?
Yes.
All right, and you don't stand to gain, you just knew him for a very long time.
That's correct.
All right, thank you for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Judge, this concludes the testimony for the heirship portion of the suit. If you would like, we can call the applicant for the administration portion.
Okay, so, Ms. Clapper, you agree with the the findings on the judgment declaring heirship?
I do, Your Honor, and I find that each of the children would receive 1/3 of the estate.
All right, so I'm gonna approve the judgment declaring heirship. And yes, Counselor, you may proceed with the heirship.
Pretty good. I'd like to call Travis as our witness, the applicant to probate. Could you please state your full name for the court, Travis?
Travis Everett Faraday
And how are you related to the decedent Thomas Everett Faraday?
and his son.
And is it true that your father died on November 18th, 2021 in Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas, at the age of 74 years?
Yes,
And he was not married at the time of his death, correct?
correct,
He was a resident of this county, correct?
correct,
4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death, correct?
correct,
And to the best of your knowledge, the decedent did not leave behind a will, correct?
correct,
You conducted a diligent search of his personal possessions and important papers, but did not reveal the existence of a will, correct?
correct,
And he never spoke to you about having created a will, correct?
correct,
And it is your belief that no will exists, correct?
correct,
There does exist a necessity for administration of this estate, correct?
correct,
And all of the other heirs agreed to you serving as the independent administrator without bond, correct?
correct,
And you have requested this court to appoint you administrator of the estate. As far as you know, you are qualified to serve without bond and to accept letters of administration, correct?
correct,
And you've never been charged with felony or a crime of moral turpitude like fraud or theft, correct?
correct.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Clapper, any questions to this witness?
No, sir, I find that he has been approved by the affidavits filed before you by both of the other brothers, and that would be well qualified to serve.
All right, hereby appoint the administrator and authorize letters of administration. And I've also approved the ad litem fee for you, Ms. Clapper.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you all.
Judge, one final point of order. This is a
Go ahead, Counselor.
this is a non-taxable estate. We would just ask that appraisers be waived as well, Judge.
All right, so done.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything else?
No, Judge, you have yourself a great day. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You also. All right, cause number 4, the state of Roberta Lee Smith Thibodeau. Good morning, Kenneth.
Morning.
Travis, Mr.
Morning,
Call.
Judge. How you doing?
Good. You may proceed, Counselor.
Thank you. Your name is Kenneth Ray Thibodeau,
Yes, it is.
and your wife was Roberta Lee Smith Thibodeau,
Yes, sir.
and she passed away on December 19th of 2022.
Yes, sir.
And y'all had your fixed place of residence in Chambers County on the day she passed away.
Yes, sir.
And you filed her last will and testament for probate,
Yes, sir.
and the will's dated February 25th of 1994.
Yes, sir.
And so far as you know, she never revoked this will, did she?
No, sir.
And y'all didn't have any children after the day of the will?
No, sir.
Okay, and y'all were married on the day she passed away.
Yes, sir.
The will named you as the independent executor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're not disqualified in any way from serving.
No, sir.
She didn't leave anything to any state or governmental entity or any charity.
No, sir.
Okay, and you're asking that the court approve your application to probate her will and name you as the independent executor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've had an opportunity to review this proof of death and other facts,
Yes, sir. We have.
and all this information is true and correct.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, everybody met the will of probate and authorized letters. You guys
Thank you,
have a good
Judge.
day.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Cause number 6, the state of Mildred R. Funda. Good morning, Mr. Dawson.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge. Good morning.
You may proceed.
Okay, yeah, Judge, my name is Dick Dawson. We're before the probate court, county court in Chambers County on Mildred R. Funda. Mildred R. Funda. She died on January 13th, 2023 in Chambers County, Texas, at the age of 86. She was a resident of Chambers County, Texas for many years. The document dated October 22nd, 2000. 21 is her last will and testament. As far as I know, it was never revoked. I'd ask the court take judicial notice that the original will is on file with the county clerk's office.
So
And
that,
if a necessity exists for the administration of the estate, there's no children born or adopted after the date of the will. She was not married at the time of her death. There's no gift to any charitable organizations or any governmental entity. It's a non-taxable estate. I'd ask that the privilege be waived. She never filed for Medicaid benefits. She named a niece, Kim Marie Harden, also known as Kim Harden, as independent executor. She's well qualified to serve and not disqualified. I'd ask that the will be admitted and that Kim Marie Harden, also known as Kim Harden, be appointed independent executor, and that's all I have, Judge.
all right, everybody, Mr. Will of probate and authorize letters. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Cause number 7, the state of Vida Solando Snyder. It's yours also, Mr. Dawson. You may proceed on it.
Yes, sir. Vida Soldado Snyder, also known as Vida M. Snyder, died on November 28, 2022 in Baytown, Texas. However, she was a resident of Pinehurst subdivision out there in Chambers County, Texas. Up until the date of her death, that was her residence, that was her domicile. I think it's interesting to note that she was 101 years old when she died. The document dated May 30th, 1996. I noticed that I drafted the will at her request and direction on May 30th, 1996, at which point she signed the document. A necessity exists for the administration of the estate. There was no children born or adopted after the date of the will. She was a single person at the time of her death. There was no gift to charitable organizations or any governmental entity. It's a non-taxable estate. I'd ask that appraisers be waived. She at no time filed for Medicaid benefits. She named a son, Paul R. Snyder, as independent executor. He's well qualified to serve. In addition to asking for Paul R. Snyder to be appointed independent executor, I also request that the will be admitted to probate, and that's all I have, Judge.
All right, anybody, Mr. Will, probate and authorized letters. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good
All
day.
right, don't leave yet. We got to go back to the other one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, cause number 8, the state of Francis Warren Fontenot. Ms. Clapper, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Is your name Susan Fontenot Stanley? Yes. Now, Susan Fontenot Fielder. But at the time that your father made this will, your last name was Stanley. All right. Now, did your father die on October 9th of 2022 in the Baptist Hospital in Beaumont, Texas?
Yes.
And was he 97 years of age?
Yes.
And did he have a permanent place of residence here in Chambers County for how many years before he died?
He was here for like 90 years in Chambers County.
So he's a longtime resident. He was married only one time. That was to your mom, Gertrude, correct?
Right.
And did he ever marry after that time?
No.
And he had 8 children. You're one of the 8. That Gertrude was named as the original executor. She died in February 21 of 1987. So that one was down. The second would be an alternative executorship in the will for Frank Malley and you to serve together. And did Mr. Malley die on December 15th of 1984 in Beaumont?
Yes.
So you are the remaining named executor in this will.
Yes.
And you are willing to assume the responsibilities of probating the estate with your other 7 brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And they have all filed a waiver of service and appearance and agreed to you being the independent executor to serve without bond of the father's estate, correct?
Yes.
That was quite a feat for you to get all that done. I commend you. Now I'm going to show you the will, and then there's some questions that I would ask you. The will was signed March the 30th of 1973 in front of 2 witnesses, Eugene T. Jensen and Eugenia Hurd, and a notary, you're familiar with his signature?
Yes.
And you're telling the court that that is indeed the signature of your father. And the notary was Nadine Hall, a member of the staff of Mr. Jensen's office. So after the signing of this will back in 1973, did your father ever remarry?
No,
Was there any child born to or adopted by him after the signing of this will?
no,
All right. And so you were willing to assume there's no reason that you would not be an acceptable executrix. You've never been charged with anything
oh,
or
no.
done anything that would in any way prohibit you from taking the oath. And so, Judge, we're asking that the proof of death be offered into evidence. It's essentially everything that we have said. There's no Medicaid claim against your father's estate. He didn't use Medicaid, correct?
No.
And there's no, you've read it, there's no charity or any other agency of the state that is named as a beneficiary. You have 8 of them named there. That's enough to deal with, isn't it?
Yes.
So you're asking the court to admit the will to probate and to issue letters testamentary so you can handle a sale of the estate home, correct?
Right.
And other matters. Thank you, Judge. That's all we have.
All right, everybody, Mr. Will of probate and authorized letters. You ladies have a good day.
You too.
Okay, we'll go back to calls number 47, the state of Dontrell, Jovan Coates. Mr. Orth. You're muted, Mr. Orth. Mr. Orth, you're muted.
I apologize for the delay, Your Honor.
That's
At this time, I'd call Danita Lewis.
okay. Ms. Lewis, raise your right hand, please. Do you have 2 here to testify?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you'll both raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. You may proceed, Counselor.
What about
Thank you.
Perez?
We'll get the other one in a minute.
Ms. Lewis, please state your full name.
Danita K. Lewis.
And how long did you know Dontrell Jovan Coates?
I've known him all my life. I knew him, became closer friends probably 2014, 15.
Okay. And did you, are you aware of Mr. Coates dying in Chambers County, Texas on July 14th, 2021?
Yes.
And did Mr. Coates reside in Chambers County at the time of his death?
Yes.
Are you aware of any will? Are you aware of any will that Mr. Coates might have had at that time?
No.
And was Mr. Coates married at the time of his death? To your knowledge?
No. No.
Was Mr. Coates ever married to your knowledge?
No.
Did Mr. Coates have any children that you're aware of?
Yes.
And would those children be Messiah Jacob Daniel and Kensley Aaron Dixon?
Yes.
And are you aware of any other living relatives of Mr. Coates at the time of his death?
Other living relatives, like his mom?
Yes.
Yes, his mom.
Okay. And what is his mother's name?
Charity Coates.
Okay. And are you getting anything from this estate?
No.
And the 2 children you named before are the only 2 children that you're aware of as far as being Mr. Coates' children,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Correct.
I would pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Dawson.
Thank you. Miss Lewis, what is your first
Yes.
name, ma'am?
Danita.
Okay, my name is Dawson, Dick Dawson. I'm the attorney ad litem by the appointed by the court to assist the court identifying all the heirs. And are you related at all to Dontrell Coates?
No,
Are you related to his mother, Cherie?
no.
Do you know when Dontrell died?
Yeah, July 16th, 2021.
And how long did you know? I'm going to call him Dontrell. How long did you know him?
I've kind of known him all my life, but like I said, I got to know him a little bit better around 2014, 2015 until his passing.
I'm sorry, Miss Lewis, the audio is not real good. I didn't hear your response. Would you respond again, please? I didn't hear you.
So I've known him kind of all my life, but I got to know him really well around 2014, 2015 until his passing.
Okay. And are you living in Anahuac?
Yes,
And how long have you lived in Anahuac?
all my life.
Okay. And did you happen to go to school with the decedent?
No,
Okay. And how many children did he have, if any?
at the time of his passing, he had 2.
Okay. Do you know the mothers of those 2 children?
No, I don't.
Okay. Did you have conversations with the decedent Dontrell in which he would indicate whether he was married? Do you ever have any conversations with him about his marital status?
Yeah, he was not married. He never
Okay.
mentioned being married.
Okay, did he ever mention any other children other than his 2 children?
No, sorry, he did not.
Okay, do you know the names, the first names of his children?
Messiah and Kinsley.
Okay, good. And do you know Cherie Coates?
Cherry, Miss Cherry, yes. Mama Cherry, yes.
Okay, and how do you know her?
I've known her kind of all my life, just through my family. But then, of course, when Dee and I became closer, I got to know her better.
Okay, all right. And so far as you know, it's your testimony, the only heirs, that is the children of Dontrell Coates, would be his 2 minor children. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Call your next witness, Counselor.
I would call Carolyn Singleton, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Singleton,
Yes, sir.
I need you to raise your right hand, please.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down, and Counselor, you may proceed.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your full name for the record.
Carol Singleton,
And where do you currently reside, Ms. Singleton?
Houston, Texas.
And how do you know Dontrell Jovan Coates?
I know him from Anahuac, Texas. He went to our church and he was our armor bearer
Okay, and how long have you known him?
since he was young, practically all his life.
Okay, and are you aware of Dontrell Coates dying in Chambers County, Texas on July 14th, 2021?
Yes.
And did Mr. Coates reside in Chambers County at the time of his death?
Yes.
And since you've known him and his family that long, are you familiar with whether he's ever been married?
No, he haven't.
Do you know the names of his children, if any?
He has 2 children, a boy and a girl, and I can't think of their names. I know their names, but I can't think of them offhand.
Would those 2 names be Messiah Jacob Daniel and Kensley Aaron Dixon?
Yes.
And those are his only 2 children that you're aware of during his lifetime, correct?
Yes, sir.
And was Dontrell Coates ever married, to your knowledge?
No, sir. No, sir. Never.
And other than his two children, his mother is still living, correct?
Yes,
And that would be Cherry Coates,
yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're not getting anything from this estate or this from Dontrell Coates estate, are you?
No, sir. No, sir.
And you're not related to Dontrell Coates in any way or shape or form, are you?
No, sir.
Okay. I pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Counselor.
Thank you. Would you state your name again, please, ma'am?
Yes, Carol Singleton.
And I take it you've lived in Anahuac, Chambers County, Texas for some years, is that correct?
Yes, I've been in Chambers County. First lady at First Missionary Baptist Church, but I reside in Houston, Texas.
I understand you live in Houston. How long did you grow up in Anahuac? Did you grow up in Anahuac,
Texas.
ma'am?
My dad. I said again. I can hear you, sir. Say it again.
Okay. Did you grow up in Anahuac, Texas? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I did grow up in Anahuac, Texas.
Did you go to high school in Anahuac?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you go to school with Dontrell Duran Coates at any time?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm
And-
way older.
Oh, really? Well, you don't
Yes,
look.
sir.
You don't look.
Thank you, sir.
Did you know Dontrell Coates then from church? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
With what regularity did you come in contact with Dontrell Duran Coates?
He was our armor bearer. My husband was the pastor, and he was I was first lady, and he was our armor bearer. He always helped my husband.
Okay, and was he ever married, to your knowledge?
No, sir, he was not.
Do you think you knew Dontrell well enough to know whether he was ever married?
Oh, I know. Yeah, no. He know that he was not married. Yes, he knows it very
Okay.
well.
Okay, and if you're driving, please be careful.
Oh, I
And-
will. I'm getting ready to pull over. My husband's gonna drive. I'm just pulling up to the airport. I'm okay.
Okay,
Yes,
and
sir.
as far as you know, he had no will, to your knowledge.
No, sir. No will. No, sir.
And what are the approximate ages of his children?
I'm not sure. I know they were young.
Do you know if they're adults, 20, 30?
Oh, no. They're young. They're young children.
Okay, do you know of any other children?
No, sir. Just the two children.
Okay, have you been promised anything for your testimony?
Oh, no, sir.
And you have no financial interest in this estate, is that correct?
No, not at all.
Okay, I pass the witness.
All right, Counselor.
Okay, at this time, I call Cherry Coates, Your Honor.
Okay, we don't need the other two witnesses, correct?
Oh, no, we have two witnesses. That was,
All right, you ladies, you're welcome to get off and be careful out there.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Miss-
sir.
Thank you. Ms. Coates?
Hi, how are you?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. May I proceed?
I need to swear in Ms. Coates. Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you put your hand down, Ms. Coates. All right, before you proceed, Mr. Dawson, you agree with the final judgment determining declaring heirship?
No, Judge, what is missing is the 202057 affidavit of compliance. Affidavit of service of citation. I have not seen any signed affidavit of service of citation as required under the Texas Estates Code. If if council would file one in the next day or so, because clearly there's a citation by publication there. And one of the mothers, which her name was Miss Dixon, her waiver is on file. Whether or not the other waiver of file from the other mom, Miss Durden, is on file, I'm not sure. But more importantly, Judge, I'd ask you to hold up signing the heirship affidavit until council files the affidavit of compliance in proper form. Because at this time, not only is it not signed, well, there's no affidavit.
Okay, and I agree with that. But do you agree with the two children?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Oh, yes, sure.
Okay, then I'm gonna prove it pending the missing waiver and the affidavit of service. You understand that, Counselor?
Yes, I understand that, Your Honor.
Okay, so if you'll file those, then I'll sign off on that, and you may proceed on the independent administration. Excuse me, the dependent administration.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
At this time, I would call Cherry Coates.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Coates, please state your full name for the record.
Cherry Lane Coates.
And what is your relationship with Dontrell Jovan Coates?
I'm his mother.
And did Dontrell Coates die in Chambers County, Texas on July 14th, 2021, to your knowledge?
Yes.
And did Mr. Coates reside in Chambers County at the time of his death?
Yes, sir.
And are you aware of any will that Mr. Coates might have had or made during his lifetime?
No, sir. He had no will.
And was Mr. Coates married at the time of his death?
No, sir.
Had Mr. Coates ever been married in his lifetime, to your knowledge?
No, sir.
And did Mr. Coates have any children that you're aware of?
Yes, he had two.
And that would have been Messiah Jacob Daniel, age 6, and Kensley Aaron Dixon, age 6, correct?
Yes, sir.
And other than those two, you're not aware of any other children that Mr. Coates had at the time of his death, correct?
Correct, sir.
And other than the two children and yourself, you're the only living heirs at this time of Mr. Coates, correct?
Yes.
And how close were you with Dontrell Coates at the time or prior to his death?
Very close, sir.
Okay. At this time, I would I'm sorry, Your Honor. Are you aware of the necessity to administrate Dontrell Coates' estate?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, the main thing that Dontrell Coates has in his estate is a personal injury claim, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you asking the court to honor your application for heirship or for to determine the heirship and to make you the applicant in this case?
Yes, sir.
And you've never committed any felony or any other criminal action in your lifetime, have you?
No, sir.
At this time, I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Dawson.
Just one question. Is Dontrell's father living?
Yes, sir.
Is he aware of this proceeding?
Yes, sir, he is.
Okay, to your knowledge, has he signed any kind of waiver?
No, sir.
I see. I think he needs to do that. That's all I have, Judge.
We'll get that taken care of, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I agree with Mr. Dawson, he does.
Yeah.
If he's still living, he needs to sign a waiver. Okay, any other testimony? What about the bond amount? Is there assets? The state?
No, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Mr. Dixon, do you want to say something? There's no assets of the case except for basically the personal injury case, Your Honor.
Mr. Dawson, you have any knowledge?
No, all I know of is the personal injury case. I'd ask that you set a minimum bond subject to a change dependent upon more assets that come into the estate.
Yeah, and it is dependent, so they'll have to come back to the court to, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to set a $100 bond and approve the order appointing dependent administrator pending the things that have to be filed for the judgment declaring heirship and the appointment of the dependent administrator. And I'm also approving the Mr. Dawson's fee. Do we cover it all?
I think we have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you all. Have a good